guys. So I am so sorry that it has been so long that I have not filmed a video, and truthfully I wanted today to be one of the more raw, less edited than I've done in the past of bar exam type videos, just for the simple fact that I wanted to let it be more of like a conversation versus a, like this, like laying it all out there for you guys. And honestly, I feel that personally, I do better when I kind of just fly by the seat of my pants versus like, I did take notes. It's not like it was like a totally like unplanned video, but I wanted to give you guys sort of my tips and tricks that I used and things that I learned and wish that I knew before I took the bar exam. And I know especially during today's current time, luckily I took the February 2020 bar, and I was actually the last normal, I guess, bar exam that came through New York State. As far as across the country, I know that I have a friend of mine that is in Florida right now that her exam has been like pushed out 3 times at least, if I'm not mistaken. And I know that a lot of other states are having similar issues. So with all the stress that's going on right now, I wanted to make sure that I put this video out here to just kind of lessen the stress as much as I can. These aren't in any particular order, but I will start from the top for things that came to mind. So the first thing that came to my mind while I was prepping for everything, again, I did use Kaplan. If you've watched my earlier videos, perhaps that's how you found this video. I found that you need to forgive yourself. That is my first tip. Forgive yourself. I know that when I was studying, I dealt with a lot of stress. I wasn't forgiving of myself whatsoever. I thought that I could study some days upwards of 12 hours a day, and if I didn't study the 12 hours that I thought was necessary to study, then I felt like a failure. I felt that I was going to fail, and that's honestly like just what it was on a daily basis. I'm like, okay, you didn't study 12 hours, you're going to fail. This is why, it's literally like, for those studying for the bar exam, you know what I'm talking about. So if you're feeling stressed, if you feel like you have to take a day off, take a day off. You can't pour from an empty cup. Okay, so if you're super stressed out, you're not going to be able to focus any better. If anything, studies show that you're going to focus worse, and you're not going to do yourself any good. So if you're feeling super stressed out, the worst thing you can do is just kind of push yourself through it. So just give yourself a break. Take a nap, go out with your friends. Yes, I went out with my friends a few times, actually probably more than a few times. I probably went out with them, I want to say every weekend while I was studying, just because I got my studying in and I deserved a break. And I also took off on Sundays. I don't know which bar prep classes all allow for days, whether they're pre-planned days off or not, but I know that mine allowed for Sundays off. And even if they didn't, I would still take Sundays off to go to church and kind of relax and spend some time with my family, my friends. So needless to say, when Saturday night rolled around and I got all my studying and everything out of the way, I was out hanging out with my friends. And honestly, I think that had a lot to do with why I was able to keep my cool as much as I did during the process. So that's number 1. Number 2, focus on what you know. So in the beginning, it's going to seem like a lot of information. Trust me, I had 2 binders full of outlines, which I'm going to get to that later. But I had 2 binders full of outlines. And by the time, it might seem impossible as you're studying and prepping for the bar exam to learn everything. Obviously, it's going to feel that way. We know how it felt for our final exams and everything, but ultimately here you are, you're studying for the bar. Obviously you passed law school, so essentially what you think is impossible is possible. So you're going to focus on what you know. So coming up to the last 2 weeks of the exam, you're going to feel like, how the hell am I ever going to remember everything that I'm supposed to remember in this little bit of time? So what I'm talking about is in the last 2 weeks, 1 week, last few days coming up to the bar exam. Focus on what you know. It is going to be so much harder to try to learn topics that you weren't able to fully digest in the last 3 months or however long you were studying for in that amount of time. What is important is for you to perfect and make better what you do know, what sunk in the most. I've told a lot of my friends, because I have talked to a lot of my friends that, might have had these moments, how the hell am I going to remember everything? You're not. That's just kind of how it is. I know on one of the questions that I had in the bar, and again, I took the New York State bar, So one of the questions had to do with, it was civil procedure, and it had something to do with joinder laws. And I was like, I don't remember any of the specific joinder laws whatsoever, the numbers, and I still don't. As a lawyer now, I am blessed with the ability to research these things in my time off. I don't have to just pop them off the top of my head. So give yourself a little leeway to be human. Like, the bar examiners are not reading through your essays and thinking, oh my gosh, they didn't, list this verbatim out of, Kaplan's books or Barbari's lectures or whatever. They're not looking for perfection. They want to know that you understand it, right? So focus on what you know. It's going to be better to focus on what you do know coming into it. Not to mention, it's going to actually make you feel a little bit more confident focusing on what you know. Don't waste your time on things that you clearly weren't able to digest during the whole 3-4 month period. Now, obviously, if you're starting out, take the time to learn it. If you're lucky like I was, your law school taught you a majority of it. I'm very blessed that my law school built their curriculum around the bar exams. So honestly, I think all of but one course I did not take at law school, so I was very blessed with that. So that's my second tip right there, which kind of leads me into my third tip, which is make sure you practice your multiple choice questions in your essays. Now, I don't know how, with the different structuring because of COVID and everything, how that's affecting different states in their bar exams and what they are giving on their exam now, but the bar exam that I took was a combination of common law with both multiple choice questions and with essays. The first day was essays. So what I did personally, I would go through and I would read the question. Obviously, reading the question is the first thing, because that way, if you read the question, you're going to be able to read through the entire fact pattern and know what you're looking for, right? Rather than reading through the fact pattern and then getting to the question and being like, okay, wait, what did I read? Or what was I supposed to be getting out of that paragraph? You also read the questions, or the answers that they give you, I'm ahead of myself. Okay, we're focusing on essays. See, this is where the whole beauty of the just, going with the flow. So with the essays, that's how I worked it. Now, with the multiple choice, read the question first and then the answer choices that they give you, and then read the paragraphs. That way you already have kind of like the answers in your mind, like what could it possibly be? What facts can I put with what, answer? So I found that, to be honest, now it seems like so obvious to me, but when I was in law school, I needed one of my professors to actually tell me, because I was very blessed that they had that's another tip too. Side one, I didn't originally write this down, but it's coming to me now. If your school is offering free bar prep, I know my school offered essay workshops and multiple choice practice, take it. I promise you, you will kick yourself in the ass. Forgive my cussing, but you will kick yourself in the ass if you pass up on bar prep when you're in law school, because that is going to add that much more stress come time when you're studying for the bar exam. So make sure you practice your multiple choice and your essays. I did 2,000, and I'm not even exaggerating. I did 2,000 multiple choice questions before I took the bar exam. I was literally doing, I downloaded the app on my phone. So if the thing that you're taking right now, the bar prep course, has a phone option, download it on your phone, because apparently bar takers are not allowed to have a life during that period of time, and people are just going to have to respect that. If you're sitting there waiting, I don't know, for your nail lady to get done, or if you're getting a pedicure or something like that, I don't know, maybe you want to spend your time getting when you get your pedicure relaxing, but I know that when I was studying for the bar exam, that's literally all I thought about. So I was like, no. So do multiple choice in between things. Just do 5 a night. If you're in law school and you're watching this video, do 5 a day while you're in law school now. Does it really matter whether you've taken the subject or not? No, you're still familiarizing yourself with the method of taking it. Maybe the wrong answers that your brain repeatedly chooses, that's a good thing. I found out that mine was always ones in the middle, or I wouldn't read the question fully and then I would screw up that way. So it's I learned my mistakes and then I was able to correct them in time for the bar exam. Even the night before the bar exam, I believe I did 10, 15 questions to kind of get it out of my system. And then the day of the multiple choice portion of the exam, I actually woke up that morning and I did like 5. I didn't check to see if I got them right, but I got it out of my system, because they say that normally the first 5 questions you miss. I don't know the statistics necessarily behind that, but someone told me that. So they're like, hey, make sure you do like 5 questions the morning of the exam. That way you kind of get used to like your whole like, jive of things, like maybe like your nerves are going away and you're kind of just like, okay, I've taken multiple choice questions. I've done this a million times. I've written a gazillion essays. I've done this before. These just happen to be the ones that are put in front of me right now. Keep that in mind. It's not something that you've never done before. Obviously, the bar exam might be something that is for many people is something that you've never done before, but you've done essays before. I know you have in law school for your final exams. I know you've done multiple choice before. So there's nothing that's going to surprise you. And so with your essays especially, so I didn't, towards the end of my bar prep, I did not write out full essays. And if I'm being totally honest, don't tell anyone, I did issue spot on most of them, but I did not write them out. So what I would do was I would obviously read the question first, and then I would read through the fact pattern, and then I would say, okay, so what laws are coming to my mind? So I would write down the laws that were coming to my mind, and then I would check the rubric to see if I got them all, what I missed, and why. What facts can I put to that? So then if you want to grab the facts from that pattern and see kind of like how that is and practice your weaving that way. I know the good thing with Kaplan is that they actually have unlimited grading. So I was able to submit essays that I wrote to them to have them like grade them and send them back and let me know. And also I know that my law school, before my bar prep class even became available, that they sent me like 200 multiple choice questions to practice. So always check with your law school to see if they have any extra questions that they can give you just if you want to practice. And they're probably going to be like, I love this student, they're like on top of their game, because I'm sure they love when their students practice. Or if they will let you practice essays and then write or submit them to them, and then they can give their, 2 cents on it and what they think about it, what you should have focused on, et cetera, et cetera. So next one, which is a really big tip. I know for me, I bugged a lot of people, but it's never bugging. See, the beautiful thing about the law field is that we are all supportive of each other, and we've all been through it. So we've all been through the bar exam, and we all know what we went through. Like, I have never met one person that was like, yeah, the bar exam was a cakewalk and I didn't need anyone, I barely studied, blah, blah, blah. And like, I have not met, I'm sure there's those people out there and you're like, who the hell are you, right? But I've never met someone to this day, the posting of this video, I have never met someone that said that the bar exam was a breeze and that they did not have at least one like breakdown, crying, hysterical, I'm gonna fail, what am I doing with my life? I don't want to be an attorney. Trust me, I did it like at least 4 or 5 times. My poor husband, don't get me started. But either way, so I would text people like, okay, so this is how I'm feeling during this. Is this normal? Is this normal? Like, you want to know that what you're feeling has been felt by other people, and like your friends, like the good friends that they are going to say yes. It's totally normal. It's okay to freak out. We all did. It's okay to cry. But you know what? You can have a good cry it out, eat some food, do whatever the heck you have to do. Personally, I eat chicken wings because they just have a calming effect on me. Eat some chicken wings, take a break, take a nap, and just go back to it. Like, this is your life. Suffer for 3-4 months, because this is going to be the rest of your life, and I promise you, you're going to thank yourself for trying and for keeping with it like you did. So don't be afraid to reach out to your professors. That's what they're there for. Your friends, any colleagues, like your law student friends, like other people that are studying for the bar, like just so you can bounce ideas off of each other, like that helps a lot. And this kind of like leads into my next point too, is giving yourself a reality check. So your brain is going to do the thing that it does, and it is going to tell you that you're going to fail. Some people maybe not, but I know that for me personally, and for maybe those other people that are like me in the situation, I psyched myself out so much that I'm like, what if you fail? What if you do this? Like, what if, how embarrassing is that going to be? How am I going to explain that to people? How am I going to be able to show my face at my job? You know what I mean? Like the place that I was interning with, I had anticipated a position with this particular place, and I was like, so what if I fail and they wanted to offer me a job and now I have to tell them that I failed and I can't take the job? Like, it's things like that. Like, your brain will literally what if you to death. Give yourself a reality check and say, hey, statistically, if I put in this amount of work for this amount of time, I try my damnedest to do it, statistically, you will pass. If you do everything that you're supposed to do, if you follow your bar prep course to the T, okay, or at least I think they said like finish like 80 to 90%. I don't know. I think I finished like 95%. The only parts that I didn't finish were like the practical portions of it, which I don't know which bar exams have like the practical portions of it, but I know mine was like you had to like write like closing arguments for something, and I think the other one was like write the pros and cons of like certain witnesses during like a trial or something like that. And for me, I wanted to spend more time on my essays and my multiple choice practice. So me personally, I didn't feel like I had to practice those, but I know that it's not something that to be taken lightly and just completely blow off. Make sure you do a couple of them, but finish a bulk of your bar prep course and give yourself a reality check on, hey, if I do the work, statistically, I will pass. And then again, what works best for you? That's my next tip. Do what's best for you. Don't listen to these people. You might not even listen to me, and that's totally fine. If you at least get one thing out of this video that helps you, I am thankful for it, because I know that when I was studying, I was looking for any sort of video that would give me any sort of tips. So I would be like, oh my gosh, so this person is doing like this many multiple choice a day. I'm not doing that. That means I'm going to fail. Or this person's doing like 10 essays a day. Like, I can't do 10 essays a day, and it's like, and then I would start psyching myself out. I would be like, okay, this person was maybe smarter than me in law school and, they're doing this. So that means that I need to do that to pass. No, don't psych yourself out. Do what works for you. Do what's required. Don't do less than. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying do what works for you. If you need more help on multiple choice, then spend more time on multiple choice. If you don't feel like writing out the essays, but you still want an issue spot, that's fine. I've like spoken with people that literally said, yeah, I didn't even bother writing essays. And they still passed. And that worked for them. It's like certain people, like, your strengths, where you struggle, what works for you. If flashcards don't work for you, don't waste your time writing them out. I actually did that for like the evidence portion, total waste of time. I didn't do it in law school. I don't know why the hell I thought it was going to work for the bar exam. Because for some reason we think that with the bar exam that our common sense goes out the window. And obviously like what other people say necessarily is going to work. But if it's not your level of learning, it's not going to work. Like, for example, I'm not a very visual learner. I had a friend that would do charts and like little graphs and cute stuff. Did not work for me. I had to write my stuff out. Like, so I loved my outlines. My outlines were my babies. I carried them with me everywhere I went. I looked like a gigantic loser, but I mean, I passed, so it's like I can't really complain. It worked, So do what works for you. Don't let anyone else make you feel like crap because you're not like doing everything that they're doing. Okay, so make sure you check yourself on that one. Again, review your outlines. Yes, this seems so obvious, like I didn't even want to put it in here, but it's true. People will just listen to the lectures but not like review their outlines. You need to review your outlines because your outlines are there for a reason. Now, I'm not saying, again, this goes back to the what works best for you, but essentially, like, you're not going to know the material that's in the exam if you're not reviewing the outlines that you prepared during the lecture. I know for me in Kaplan, they had like, it was really cool because like they had like the blank spaces, like where you would fill it in as you were listening to it as sort of like an active learning tool. So what I would do was I would listen to the lecture, fill in the outline while I was listening to it, let that digest, do some practice multiple choice that would follow it, and then maybe like a couple issue spotting on essays. I wouldn't write a full essay, but I'd be like, okay, did I understand this material enough? And then once I finished all my lectures, I would go back through and just start cycling through all my outlines to where literally I knew what I was going to read before I even read it. But then I was also doing multiple choice and essay work to further like use what I learned and to check what I'm reading, right? So make sure you have like, you're not necessarily just reviewing them, but you're also doing the multiple choice and the essays to check what you were reading and what you were digesting, things like that. So next tip that I have is talk to your school. Now, I don't know about other law schools. I've heard a lot of different things depending on what law school someone went to, but I know my particular law school was very good on giving like or having resources like for bar prep. I know that my one professor, like we had a mandated bar prep class. We could have waived out of it if we wanted to, but I took it just because I'm like, why again, pass up the free bar help, you know? So they went over multiple choice with us. They taught us how to like map out our work. And I actually had a professor that let me like practice essays, submit them to him, and he would grade them and tell me what realistically I would get on the bar if that went before, you know, the graders. There was a lot of bar prep stuff that went on. That's how I got my 200 question packet, was from my school, which again, it was so sweet because like I was living in Michigan when I went to the law school, but I was living in New York when I took the bar. And they actually mailed me the 200 question like packet. No questions asked. I'm like, I need some extra multiple choice help. They're like, okay, here you go. Literally just sent me the whole dang thing. And I'm eternally grateful. So that's like what I did. I would do like 5, 10 at a time, practice that, kind of like start feeling confident, you know. And they were actually like, see if they have like, if you're one of those like bar states that it's like state law specific. Mine was a UBE state, so it was totally different, I know, than a lot of them. But the bar examiners sometimes steal their, not well, they can't technically steal from themselves, but they will reuse questions that they used in the past again. So these questions that I would take were structured like the bar questions that I would be expecting when I took the actual exam. So that's why I really wanted to do that. And I used Adaptabar too. If you guys can get your hand on Adaptabar, I loved it because what it does is it keeps track of how many multiple choice you do. It also lets you know like where your strengths and weaknesses are as far as subject goes, and then it lets you know like it actually explains like why the answers are wrong, why this one in particular is right, and not to mention I learned a lot of exceptions to rules that even my bar like notes did not cover. So I would do my prep course outlines, but I learned the exceptions through Adaptabar. And there was actually a few of them on the exam. So I would definitely recommend checking out Adaptabar. It is ADAP as in Paul, TIBAR, Adaptabar. So really good. Hopefully I spelled that right. I am so sorry if I did not. I'm gonna have to write it out. I'm very bad at like, okay, Adaptabar. So ADAPTIBAR. I am sorry. So finally, I might have another tangent to go off of, but as far as it goes, this is the last of my notes that I have going, and which is a good thing because this is already a long video, and I am so happy. Comment below if you guys made it this far. Know your dates. I know that the last thing you want to do is, you know, deal with dates and deadlines and all that nonsense, like when it comes to the bar exam, because learning information is half the battle, and I already have all this crap to deal with, so why the hell would I want to, you know, peruse a website that's just going to make it worse? Know your dates. Know your registration dates, know what they need, know what is required from you, because I'll tell you what, it's going to be that much more stressful if you're in one of these states that you need to fill out and